Hey friends, I'm back here with the amazing Bearded Wonder, and I'm going to kind of turn this topic around. And because I'm always about breaking stigmas, there is a stigma surrounding the discussion of men's security and being a man and all the things a man is supposed to be, do, provide for his family, to his female. And we don't discuss men's self-worth because it's just supposed to silently be there, like in existence. And I'm sure a lot of guys think and wonder what this is supposed to look like, but nobody's talking about it. And it makes me really sad because I've got two young men and they don't get the exposure or the lessons of being a solid man, stepping into that masculinity. And this is kind of my friend here doesn't know what I'm about to pop on him, but I know he can handle it. He's a tough guy.
I got you.
And so what actually made me reach out to you is on March 19th, you posted a picture of your wife and you paired it with a song and you wrote something that stopped me in my tracks. I've been following you for a while. When I miss my news updates, I don't turn on the news. I go to who I know is pumping out the information that I can actually follow. And something you just hit me with that is, in my opinion, one of the most important things that I've ever seen you post on your page. And I'm going to read it for people who haven't seen it, because you posted it on social media, so I can read it.
Absolutely. Go for it.
And I want to talk about that for a minute.
All
So
right.
what caught me is this post you made, and it says, "You have been completely unexpected. Everything about you from day one. Here's the crazy thing. I wanted this for so fucking long. I prayed for you and I waited for you for years. And then when I found you, I ran away from you twice because I wasn't ready to believe someone could love me so completely. Yet through it all, you stayed patient, you stayed understanding, you stayed kind, and you waited for me to figure my shit out. You stayed. I am forever grateful for you." Y'all, when God gives you something or someone amazing, everything you had hoped and prayed for and didn't really know could exist, don't ask why and don't push it away. Go all in. I almost lost the best thing he has ever given me 3 times because of my pride and my blindness. God doesn't give you something or someone when you are ready. He gives it and them to you when he is ready. Don't question his timing or his gifts. He knows. God gave me a girl and she is my whole world. So just as much as the political and informative information you share to help others, this is likely just as relatable in a society that deals with low self-worth and lack of compassion. So, my friend, what is the story behind this post?
Wow. Uh,
You weren't ready for that, huh?
no, no,
Gotcha.
you actually might make me choke up a little.
That's all right, because this is not acceptable. And
I
we're losing that.
and I don't do that. I'm a I'm a fifth generation farm boy from Idaho that doesn't share feelings. Um, Now I don't still farm. My family does. But I took the corporate route and I became a corporate executive and that's what I do for a living. But even then, I keep my emotions in check, right? I have three beautiful boys, and two absolutely gorgeous daughters, and I raise my daughters to show those emotions. I raise my boys that we don't do that. We don't we don't do that because we're tough. We can handle hard things, and it's our job to push through. Damn it. So as you're reading that, and I'm over here choked up a little bit, I'll give you a background on it. But before I get into that, God gives you things when you need it on his timing. And I posted that on March 19th, and she and I had a huge, huge fight the last 2 days. And last night, before I went to bed, um, no, I do need to correct you. She's not my wife yet. We're engaged.
Okay.
We haven't gotten married yet. We live 2 states apart. We're in the process of moving to be together. Um, and we had a huge fight the last couple of days. And um, last night we almost called it. And we almost called it because I'm stubborn and I'm prideful and I forget shit. And then you just read that, and I just got the biggest kick in the gut I think I've had in a hot minute. Shit. All right. So
You're
let's
welcome.
go back. Thank you. Yeah.
Mhm.
One of the things she will tell you is I am very prideful and I'm very stubborn. Not in a that I can't be told what to do kind of way, but when I get an idea, I'm gonna run with it, and it takes a minute for me to really realize that I may not have all the answers. Um, I got married at 19 years old. First girl I ever met in college. First girl I ever dated, and we got married. We were married young. We had a little boy. It was awesome. And then we realized we wanted two separate things, and we went two
Mhm.
separate ways.
Mhm.
And we ended up divorced, and we were friends, and we didn't. There was not a lot of animosity between us. There was some hard things that happened while we were married,
Mhm.
and then I met my second wife and got married to her, and she met her current husband, her second husband, and got married to him. And now all of a sudden we had this challenge of raising a son together
Mhm.
with new spouses who had different ideals. And then I met, and so now I'm married to my second wife. Um, and we were married for 15 years. We were together for 12, separated for the last 3, but we were still kind of off and on. Married 15 years. And when I got divorced, we separated in 2017. Divorce was finalized in 2019. When we got divorced, I was never getting married again, ever. I was good. I'd been there, I'd done that, I'd been through all the ups and downs, I'd been through all the things, a lot of the things that you can imagine that couples go through. We went through. We went through, you know, we went through 2008 through the financial crisis that happened with the housing market.
Mhm.
We had multiple homes, we had multiple exposures, we lost everything. We went through that. We went through infidelity, we went through family meddling, we went through everything under the sun, and I thought that we came out of it stronger, and in the end we didn't. So when I was done, and I wasn't going to get remarried. And when I met my my wife to be, my fiance, it was about a little over a year and a half ago. Um, and I was done. I wasn't looking for her. She had just come off of a divorce. She wasn't looking for me. She actually followed me on social media,
Mhm.
and I'm not one of those. I have a lot of followers, right? And I don't typically search out, my followers, but a comment that she had made popped up, and her picture caught me, and so I clicked on it, and I was like, oh, she's from Idaho. That's where I grew up. So I just sent her a message. I said, hey, I appreciate your comment. Always love to follow my fellow Idahomies. Well, she'd responded back, and we ended up talking a little bit, but she flat out told me, I'm not in a place where I want to date anybody. I'm just coming out of a really bad divorce. I said, look, I'm just coming off of a really bad breakup. I'm not anywhere where I just want to be your friend. Let's just be friends. Well, we talked back and forth, and she was leaving a job, and going to a new job, and I happened to be in the town that she lives in, and I says, hey, how about I come by and see you? She was like, you're not going to do that, right? Like, that's not really a thing. I went and got her some lunch, and I stopped by and met her in person for the first time. And when she walked out of the building that she worked in, I was absolutely blown away. It was
Aw.
it was literally like the hand of God grabbed me and said, that's the one. and it scared the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
And we went on a date. We went on our first date. Somebody recognized me from social media. Happened to be at the table next to us at dinner. They actually paid for our meal. I didn't know until after they had left, but they talked their ear off for a good half hour, and then of course they got up and says, well, we'll let you have your night. And she knew that I had a little bit of a following, but she didn't really know much of it. Well, she was kind of surprised by that. Well, then we went to the next part of our date. We interacted, we laughed, we joked, we had fun, and there was a group of high school kids there, and one of the girls said to my sweetheart, she said, I hope when I get to be your age that I'm still that happy in a marriage that you guys are. And we just started laughing, and she said, what? And I said, this is our first date, we haven't even kissed. And she was like, you guys are liars, there's no way. I'm like, no, for reals, like this is our first date. Well, it went from there, and we decided to date seriously, and we dated for about 2 months, and we had a rough spot pop up with our kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I got upset and I ran away because all of a sudden I had somebody in my life who, her older kids, she's been married twice, her older kids' dad is not in the picture at all, hasn't been since they were infants, like, well, since her oldest was 3, and her second was a baby. This gentleman has not been in their life at all. Her second husband, they have 2 daughters together. He's very, very, very involved. And he's an exceptional dad, actually. And those little girls are lucky. But all of a sudden, I realized that I was kind of being thrust into this dad role of some kids that I wasn't sure if I was ready for that. I have 5 kids of my own, and I didn't know if I was ready to be a dad to somebody else's kids,
Mm-hmm.
or if I was even allowed to be
Mm-hmm.
that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as somebody who was raised in a dad goes to work, mom stays home, very, very defined role home, I didn't know what my role was. And I was very uncomfortable with it. And I didn't know, am I supposed to be the dad? Am I
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be the friend? Am I just supposed to be, hey, you pay the bills and just be here and don't say, I didn't know. And so we got in this big fight, and I started to interject some of my thoughts, and I got checked and put in my place, and I got upset. And I ran away. And we took about 6 weeks off. And through that 6 weeks, I was bullheaded and stubborn and stupid. And she stayed, and she stayed true, and she kept trying to, let's work it out. And then we got back together, and we went through all the summer last
She
year.
stayed true, as in you did not.
I reached out to a girl who I had dated previously, and it was I fell hard for my soon to be wife. And when we broke up, and I mean, it was one of those, lose my number, don't call me again. Things were said on both sides, and it hurt hard. And I hadn't been hurt that bad since my divorce, and I just wanted it to go away. And so I actually reached out to a girl that I dated previously, said, hey, like, how you doing? What's up? I just needed a distraction to not feel what I was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And so we rekindled. By rekindled, I mean we hung out a little bit, and during that time, I kept her, my soon to be wife now. I basically just said, look, I'm not doing this. I don't want to do this with you. And after about a month of no contact, no interaction, she sent me a simple message, and I got it on my phone, and everything. It was one of those, hey, you fucking moron, what are you doing moments. It was, you ran away, you tried to peel this with a band-aid, you're with somebody you shouldn't even try to be talking to, you're trying to fill a void because you don't want to feel. And it was true, I just didn't.
Yep.
And I broke up with the girl that I had gone back and started dating again. I gave it a couple of weeks. I kind of put my mind in a place it needed to be, and I reached out to my girlfriend, fiance, whatever you want to call her. I still call her my girlfriend even though we're engaged, but I reached out to my girlfriend because it's easier to say it that way. And I just said, okay, I'm stupid, let's talk. and she didn't want to talk to me. She was hurt. She was mad. Now she'd gone out a few times. She'd been set up on a couple of dates, but nothing had gone anywhere. She'd been on a couple of dating apps, nothing had really gone anywhere, and it all kind of came to a head. She got herself in a situation. She went out with a group of friends, and they were supposed to be taking a razor ride through the desert, and she got put in a razor with a guy who she didn't know, who she basically got set up on a blind date, and he was drinking heavily, and they were driving through the desert, and she was scared. And she called me, and she was like, "I'm in a really bad situation, and I need help." And I was out of state for work. I was actually in Michigan during that time when she called me, and I could not get home to her. Luckily, we were able to get her safe, get her home. And the next weekend, as soon as I got home, I drove up there, and we fixed it. And I was like, nope. And it was one of those when I realized in a moment that she was in a bad situation, and she was really in that situation because of my stupidity. It was one of those what if moments. What if something happened? You can what if forever, right? But
Yeah.
how would I be able to come home and face her or face her kids knowing that my choices had put her in the position to make the choice to be where she was? How ultimately would I feel about that? And I realized that I didn't want to lose this girl. So we got back together. She again, she had stayed, true to me as far as, hadn't kissed anybody, hadn't nothing. Like she
Yeah.
just hung out, needed a friend, and of course, I'm off dating and being a moron. This is really fun to get to admit to, your
Yeah.
whole audience. Hi everybody, I'm a moron. This is awesome.
And connect with the moron who people don't know how to connect. And that's what I want to,
And that's
that's
the truth.
where I want to get here is she tried to connect. You knew there was a soul connection there, and it
Oh, I knew.
scared
And it
you.
scared me to death. And then we came back, and in November we had another situation again involving our kids, and we split up again, and we weren't together December or January. We started talking again in January. Well, we were talking this whole time, but we weren't dating. We were kind of back and forth trying to figure out how do we put. Well, she has a teenage daughter, I have a teenage son, and they were just at each other's throats. So not anything in a bad way, like they were hooking up or anything like that. Just literally cats and dogs at each other's throats, and it was a how are we going to make this work? Every time we're together, it ends up in a screaming match with these two. It ends up with them fighting. It ends up with us fighting, and it looked like we would never be able to fix this. And now, anyways, long story short, we got back together. We had another little bump in the road. We kind of backed off from each other. I backed off, and then all of a sudden, I kind of took that last year into context
Mm-hmm.
and realized the gift that God had given me, and who she was, and what she meant to me. And I went, that's it. I'm done. I went all in. No questions. No more
You're
fighting it.
testing
No more.
yourself, no more,
Nothing. No,
no
nothing. And
doubt.
no doubts. And even and like I said last night, we had a huge fight, and it was the comment got brought up: is this really what we should be doing? And she actually asked that. And I told her when she went to bed last night, I said, you need to make the decision what you want, and let me know in the morning. And when I woke up this morning, I woke up to a text of, you're the only thing I want. You're the only future I want. And I
Mm,
said, are you sure? And she said, yes. And she said, I just need to know if you're on board. And I said, I've never not been on board. I just got scared and ran away for a minute. She's like, but are you going to continue to? I said, no. I made her a promise that I was all in. And when I went all in is when I blasted her on my social media. I put her everywhere. I showed her to the whole world. I'm very private in my life. I keep
mm.
my social life and my real life completely separate. Most people don't even know my name. By the way, I'm Joe. Hi, nice to
Hey,
meet
Joe.
everybody. Most people don't even know my first name on social media. They just know me as that bearded guy that says, well, hello, America. Right? That's who I am. I'm a very private person, and she needed that reassurance of me putting her out there. So I've done that. And when I did that, it was kind of like a switch flipped in my world, and I realized this really is my whole world, and I really am all in, and I'm really okay to share my feelings and be vulnerable enough to get hurt again as much as I didn't want to. And for a year, I had, obviously, I believe in God. I had God telling me over and over and over, or the universe, or whoever you want to call it in your world, telling me over and over and over, this is the girl. I'm not overly religious, go to church, but I do pray. I pray daily. And there were multiple times over the year that you kept saying, God, is this who I'm supposed to be with? I don't know. I want it to be, but if this isn't who I'm supposed to be with, just let me know. And every single time that we were having a hard day, or we were in a rough situation, and I said that, something like today has happened. Yesterday I'm driving, I was headed to the gym, and I, was praying as I was driving, and I just said, did I make a mistake? Is this the wrong choice? It shouldn't feel this hard. Did I make a mistake? And today I get on here and we're talking about all this other stuff, and I'm cool and I'm in my element. And then you flip that and it was like, no, I didn't make a mistake. God doesn't make mistakes.
He doesn't. That doubt is what is going to creep in and get you. It's going to get you.
So that was really long-winded. There you go. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. So my point here is, when you find that soul connection, love becomes more than an emotion. It's this whole awareness. It's this awareness of, who am I without this person? Who am I with this person? How do I feel? How can I make this other person feel better? You care more about how you make this person feel, how they're being impacted by your decisions. And if you allow doubt to come in there, it can totally just destroy and ruin. Doubt's like the devil in a relationship.
Well, it is. It's the devil. The doubt is the adversary's tool, whether you want to call it the devil or whatever it is. Doubt is one of the strongest emotions next to fear that will absolutely tear somebody apart, tear a relationship apart, whether
Yep.
it's romantic, business, family, whatever. Doubt and fear will destroy everything. And having the ability to have self-awareness and find your self-confidence are two of the strongest things you can use in erasing that doubt. Now, that doesn't mean that it's never going to pop up. That doesn't mean, I've had multiple times over the last year, is this where I should be?
Mm-hmm.
And every time I've got a resounding yes.
But every time you act on it, you have to fight for it. You have to go for it, because if you let it slip by, then you live with regret, right?
100%. And we had this conversation a couple weeks ago, because she's scared. She's scared that, what happens, we move in together and it doesn't work out, and what happens if, we call it off? We're getting married in October. What happens if we call it off? What happens if it doesn't work out? And I sat there and I thought about that. I said, would you rather end it now, wondering, would it have happened, but I saved myself that pain? Or would you rather go through it and look back on it and say, I'm grateful I was able to spend this time with somebody, even though it ended this way?
Mm-hmm.
I had up so many walls because I never wanted to be hurt again. And now I look at this and I think, I'd rather have the opportunity to have this and see where it goes than to push it away because I'm too scared to be hurt.
We have to stop running away from our feelings.
Yeah, but it's a lot easier to run away from your feelings.
It is easier. It is easier. It is easier. I agree with you. But especially for men, when the idea of a man is to shut that down and just be all of the hard doing things for the family, for your spouse, for your woman, for your kids, it becomes very hard, because you want to have that wall up and you want to run, and then it allows you to give into those doubts. And in that process, we have such a breakdown, a behind the scenes emotional breakdown of men, because they're not expressive and they're running away from these meaningful connections and these relationships, and so many of them are getting destroyed unnecessarily. And when I read that post, I thought, damn, that is beautiful. And I want to bring attention to it because it's just as important as the bullshit organic pasture raised livestock. This
Sure.
is important. It's just as important, and we don't bring it into light enough like we should.
Well, and the reality of it is like we've talked, we are taught as men that you don't have these emotions, right? You put them away. And that's been one of the things that I've had to learn the most in the last year is we all have emotions. Men have emotions just as strongly as women. There's no difference.
Mm-hmm.
You feel the way you feel. We feel the way we feel. We feel hurt. We feel betrayal. We feel sadness just like women do. We just process it and deal with it differently because as a society, nobody wants to see a man crying, right? At least that's how we were taught.
Right.
You know, I grew up again rough and tumble, played sports, did all the things. I bawled like a baby the day that I found out that I was going to play professional football. I played arena football professionally for 2 years. I bawled, one of the happiest days of my life. But I did it alone by myself in a place that nobody saw me because I didn't want that emotion to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've gone through the years and I've learned that there's a fine line. It's okay to express those emotions. It's okay to be vulnerable, but it's not okay to use that as a crutch, right? And that's the thing. I'm grateful that I've found somebody who's allowed me to share my feelings and to open those feelings, but I'm not going to be the dude that's going to share every deepest part of my heart constantly. But man, it's really nice to get a kick in the head every once in a while and go, "Hey, remember how you felt like this?" It's okay to let people know, and sometimes they need to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's the biggest thing is sometimes they need to hear it, and that's okay.
It is okay. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Thanks for the curveball. Damn.
Yeah, kicking the nuts, huh? You're welcome.
Uh,
Good Fresh
absolutely.
Friday.
Yeah, kind of needed that today. She's as soon as we hang up, I'm now making a phone call and yeah, she's gonna be like, "What in the hell happened to you today?" You
Aw.
don't want to know.
Oh, she does want to know, actually. She does want to know. She wants to
She
know
does.
that you're thinking of her. She wants to know that you care about her. She wants to know that you don't have doubt taking over what could potentially be in her space. She wants to know that.
Yep,
Yeah.
and I got that. So
Yeah. So, guys, it's okay. Don't let doubt creep in and take that connection away from you. It is so to have love and that awareness of love and to find that person that makes you feel that in the darkness, in the light, in any place in the world, in any lifetime. If you have that, you better act on that and not let walls or doubt or testing yourself in some way ruin it. It's okay to accept it.
I got